So our first business class flight was from Miami to Cape Town. We were able to book a Qatar Q suite for originally was my husband and I supposed to be in business class. We have a daughter and she finagled her way into convincing her dad to let her have the business class seat while he sat in the seat in coach. But Qatar has what I think is the best business class product. It has a door on this suite, so you can close the door and you're like in your own cocoon. There's on-demand dining, unlimited drinks, food, champagne. There's blankets. There is a pajama. There's amenity kits, and all of this. And I think I paid maybe $50 in taxes and fees.
Hey there, Wonder Crew. It is Mike, and today on the Globetrotters Guide, we are joined by Nicole from Nicole's Travel Tips. She's a family traveler and strategic planner who turns everyday points into epic memories. From navigating airports with kids to unlocking travel perks the smart way, Nicole shows that intentional travel doesn't have to be overwhelming or expensive. Hi there, Nicole. How are you? And welcome to the Globetrotters Guide.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. I hope you're having a great day.
I
Everything's going
am.
well for you.
I'm a
Awesome.
teacher and it's summer, so it's great.
There you go. You got some time to travel. So thank you for spending the time with us today. So I'm going to start this interview with the general questions so we can get to know you a little bit. And then we'll kind of go on to there and learn what we can. And I'm going to tell you, I'm excited about today's interview too, because like I was telling you in the pre-show in our green room there, that, this is the start really of my true travel, with my kids and stuff like that. And we're starting from zero. So all this like points and perks and all that kind of stuff, I've got zero. So I'm going to have like my pen and paper out, really taking notes on this today. I'm very much looking forward to it. But let's start with the general stuff. So tell us a little bit about Nicole Travel Tip, how it began, and how you kind of got into this niche of travel with kind of showing off the points and the perks and the lounges and all that kind of stuff.
It's where every unique hobby starts on YouTube. I was watching YouTube late at night, found a video of a gentleman talking about using credit card to travel, and I've always loved traveling. I'm originally from Jamaica, and we used to come to the US and visit all the time. And so that kind of sparked my interest. And I love getting on the plane. I don't know how old you are, but I don't know if you remember the Pan Am days. That's when I
Yes.
started traveling. And hearing this video, I went to another one. You know how YouTube, it just keeps sending you more videos. So it was, I started at 11. Before I know it, it was 2 a.m. And basically, how it worked is I used to pay everything with a debit card. So you use credit cards, you earn the miles, and then you turn those miles into either airline tickets, rental cars, or hotel stays. And I have an addictive personality. And so it just kind of, how you say, like snowballed after that. So I
No.
started about 3 years ago and not looking back.
Wow, and that's amazing because I mean, what you're saying too kind of resonates with me. How you kind of started with paying everything by debit because I've been that kind of guy. Like
Mhm.
I've never really traditionally liked credit cards because I'm like, why am I playing with other people's money, right?
That's
But learning now that there's a strategic way to do that so that you can get the benefits out of them without without putting yourself into danger, and especially for I think for single parents, who don't have dual incomes, which means they don't have that buffer, right? They
mhm.
don't have that safety net of, if I mess things up, we might have a little bit of extra money. A lot of single parents, get very scared when it comes to getting into any extra debt. But I mean, obviously, there's good ways of doing it and there's bad ways of doing it. So yeah. So let me to ask you this. When did kind of the travel shift from just being something fun that you did, with your family or whatever not, to something that you thought, you know what, I can teach this. I can get on YouTube and Instagram and put my face out there and teach people how to do this.
When you say it like that, it makes me sound a little fancy. I guess I'm a teacher at heart. I am also an Aries, so I like to tell people what to do. And I had an Instagram before, and I would talk about, oh my God, I've gone through it all: couponing, health and fitness, how to do math, all that kind of stuff. And once I started to reap the benefits of this travel, I'm like, I feel like everyone needs to know this. And so I just started posting some of the deals that I was getting. And, slowly but surely it started to pick up. And I don't know, it's fun sharing these things with people and then having them come back and say, oh, I listened to your tip and I booked this trip and my family's going here, or we're going to do this, or I earned some points. It just makes it very fulfilling.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I guess I mean it's a natural flow being a teacher, right? And then saying, "Well, I'm going to use, these social medias and stuff like that to kind of continue that." So, that's commendable. I like it. And I mean, like I said, I kind of resonate with that too because I mean, here I am trying to teach parents, especially single parents that they can also do this type of stuff. So,
Yes.
kind of kindred spirits.
For sure.
Yeah. So if the cameras were turned off tomorrow and there was no social media to put things to, would you still be doing this? Is that this like the thing that you're like, huh, I could do this?
Absolutely. So even when I was younger in Jamaica, like I said, I grew up in the Pan Am days, and we used to actually go to the airport and we had this thing called a waving gallery. So if one of
Mm,
your family members were traveling, everyone would go to the airport, go up to this waving gallery, wait till they got on the plane and waved as the plane took off.
mm,
And I remember saving newspaper clippings of flights I wanted to take. I saved my money because I know I wanted to travel more than the one time a year our parents used to take us. So it's
mm.
always been in me. And then moving to the US with all the opportunities here, once I got the opportunity, I just took off running.
For sure, that makes a lot of sense, and I love that, and I mean, I don't think we had much by way of waving galleries here, but I do remember because my mother is actually from Jamaica as well, so she came to Canada from Portland area, and so I know the airport there used to have something similar to that.
Yep.
I think she used to go up. Did she go up through Kingston or Montego Bay? I don't remember, but yeah, that's something along those lines. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very, very cool. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this interview and kind of start to learn. Like I said, I've got my pen and paper out. I'm ready to learn from you. But let me ask you this: if there was a moment in travel that kind of turned, like, because you said originally you were I'm going to pay with this with my debit card. I'm not going to go into debt for this, and then kind of slowly you kind of came around to the cards and the points and the perks and all that kind of stuff. So was there a moment, in your travels that made you kind of rethink how you did things when you were doing it kind of the no debt way?
I mean, it was going to Europe for the first time. I mean, that was our first big points and miles trip. And I had originally got my first card was the Capital One Venture X. We had put all our spending that we would usually put on there, or electric bills, the supermarket, gas, taxes that we'd pay, everything on this card. And I think we were using it for about 6 months, and I earned enough points to get four of us round trip tickets from the US to Portugal.
Wow.
And we had to pay taxes and fees. I think we had to pay about $200 per person plus the points. And at the time, it wasn't the ultimate deal, but it was still getting four of us from the US to Europe for the first time. And I remember thinking, we did it. Like, we actually made it. Seeing the Eiffel Tower, going to Portugal, I was like, how? Like, it seems very impossible. When you look online or you go to Google Flights and you type in the price, you're like, I have to pay this, I have to pay for the hotel, I have to buy food, and there's four of us. It seems very overwhelming.
Hmm.
And to be able to get it done the first time was like eye-opening. And by time we did it the second time, I was like, okay, I got this. This is what we're doing now.
Hmm. For sure. And that's yeah, because I mean, yeah. I'm stumbling because I'm resonating like very much with what you're saying, where it just kind of feels on the surface of it impossible.
Yes.
And I know, like, up here, I don't know if you have it in the States, but we have a program called Air Miles. And at the beginning of the program, like probably 2 decades ago now, it was actually relatively easy to kind of save up enough points with it to travel. And it was not it's that program is not with a it's not with a credit card. It's just a separate points program that you could
Mm.
get. And like people were doing, and then they slowly made it more and more difficult to the point now where I'm like, man, I wish I had a program like it was 20 years ago now, because I would definitely be getting into it now. But now it's, you can barely get a few points per purchase that you get. It'd take you years to ever travel anywhere on it.
Yeah. So, two things I want to mention based on what you said.
Hmm.
Num- Number one, it requires a paradigm mind shift, right? And it happens to all of us as humans. Everything seems impossible until it happens.
Hmm.
And it seems like this big thing to do until you take a little step to get to that part where you need to, achieve that goal. They say if you're going to eat an elephant, you have to start with one bite.
Yeah.
And the other thing is everything that we see now is going to, and I use this word loosely, is eventually going to devalue, right? So just
Hmm.
like you say, those air miles were very valuable a few years ago, and people probably didn't take advantage of it, or we waited and whatever, and now it's not as valuable anymore. It's the
Hmm.
exact same thing happening now here in the US, across the world, in terms of points and miles. Things that I used to be able to get a few years ago cost a lot more miles now. Programs that were very valuable before are also not as valuable as they are today. So with all that being said, take the little steps to do the things that you want to do now,
Hmm.
because not to saying that it won't be here, but just in case it's not here, or kind of what's stopping us. I'm not sure how expletives works on this show, but I've been going by this mindset now where it's called Fibby. It's just, and you can bleep me out if you want to, but it's just fuck it, book it. Just
I like that. I like that. I mean, we're a family channel, so I
sorry.
might. No, that's all right. I mean, it's no, it's a good concept to go by, and maybe that's a great segue into my next question. Is that, have you had any like big oops moments, like, oh my gosh, this was a big mistake when it comes to these points and travel and all that kind of stuff, that kind of became maybe a foundational lesson for you as well?
I have tons of big oops, little oops, all kind of oops. Um, I have taken my family to the wrong airport. So here in Miami, we have two. We have Miami and Fort Lauderdale. We drove to the Fort Lauderdale airport, which is the one furthest away from our house. Went to check in, couldn't check in because homegirl here picked the wrong airport. Luckily, we had enough time to F1 race to the other airport. My husband went to the front of the line, bypassed everyone, checked our bags in, and we ran and we made that flight. I have booked flights on the wrong date. Like I've gotten emails that said, check-in is open for your flight tomorrow. And I'm like, what flight tomorrow?
Oh,
I'm not leaving
no.
till next month. Yeah. So um so many other things that on Instagram it looks all great. And I think I do a good job of showing the things that we've made mistakes on. Primarily I've made mistakes on. But it's easy to not see those sometimes. Like once we forgot to get our COVID information ready and we missed a flight and we had to pay an extra $700 to get on the flight the following day.
Oof.
So I am a hot mess in mascara, but things happen and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And yeah. those those sound like, I'm trying to imagine ending up at the wrong airport, and
Yep.
I would probably be a complete mess at that
Oh, I
point in
was. I was sweating, my heart was racing. We were going skiing for the first time ever. Like,
Hmm.
this is a black family going skiing in Denver. It was a big deal.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
to think I have it all together to be like, sorry, ma'am, you're at the wrong airport was devastating. Completely
Yeah.
devastating.
So let me ask you a question that isn't kind of on our list, but I think it's a good question as a parent. And when kind of, and I'll bleep myself out for this one, but when shit hits the fan, right, and you're traveling with the kids, like how do you handle it? Like how do you make it either a teachable moment or just sometimes just get through it?
I think I'm more of the get through it. I want to think I'm that nice, gentle parenting and I have it all figured out. I don't. I drop F bombs. I sweat. I curse. It just is a part of life. I
Yeah.
think traveling puts a magnifying glass on everything that would have happened in your normal life. But everything's
Hmm.
out of control because you're not in your regular space. If you're in a foreign country, you may not even speak the language, you need to find help.
Hmm.
But I would say after all of that, whether it's, loss of money, loss of time or reservation, I'm still here today, maybe with a few bruises, but I'm okay. I'm doing quite fine. My mom used to say if it's not life and death, it's not a big deal.
That's fair enough. That's good. I remember my the first trip that I took all my kids on was 2 years ago to Ghana, Africa.
Wow.
And I mean, if you want to stress test your family for a first trip, take them to Africa, And I remember like from the tiredness on the long flights
Mhm.
to every like by the time we were halfway through, I think we were in Amsterdam and we were just frayed, right?
Mm,
Everybody was on a knife's edge and people were saying things that they probably wouldn't have said, and like even just finding food was like a nightmare scenario because like just everybody was so on edge,
mhm.
right? And I just remember thinking, I am not going to survive this trip. Either I'm not going to survive the trip or one of my kids is not going to survive this trip.
It's funny that you say that because when I come back from a trip, a friend would ask, how was the trip? And I was like, nobody died. Nobody got
Mm,
murdered.
mm.
My first answer. It really is a stress test, you know what I mean? And the more days you stay away, the more stressful it is. And yes, everyone is on edge. And I'm realizing now, late in the game, my family and I have different travel styles.
Hmm.
I want to be up early in the morning. I want to see everything, do everything. I'm that person that, oh, we have 2 weeks in Europe. Let's see 5 different countries. Let's be in
Hmm.
another country every other day. And they're like, I just want to sleep in till 2 o'clock. And I'm like, if you wanted to sleep in, you should have stayed home.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I am, and as you know, and as the audience knows, we are planning our, 1177, which is to visit all seven continents and see all seven wonders of the world. As I'm traveling, as I'm planning it out, I'm like, okay, we're gonna, step on the European continent. Okay. Well, there is no point in just going to one country and seeing, just going there and seeing the Colosseum and go home. No, we're gonna be there for 2 weeks. We, might as well go to the Colosseum. Oh, we should see the Vatican. Oh, we should up to France and see the Eiffel Tower. Oh, we should over to Amsterdam. We should do all these things, right? And I know that my kids, especially my teenagers, my teenager, right? He's just about to turn 18 and he is not that let's do everything in 2 week type of vibe right now.
I have one of those. I have two of those.
Yeah, so he is not that vibe, and I hope as he gets older, that maybe he'll kind of see and understand that there's no point in wasting the opportunity because you never know if you're going to get the opportunity again. The way the world
Correct.
works, you may get to a country or a continent, and it could very well be the last time you are able to go to that place. So you might as well make the most out of it. 100% agree with that. And I'm that kind of person. I used to tell my kids, we'll sleep when we're dead. Okay, let's go. Plenty of time for sleeping later.
I have to make and through this whole journey, I've had a lot of mindset shift.
Hmm.
And someone would tell me that same thing. And I'm not saying that I'm slowing down, but they're like, you can always come back. And I'm like, I don't know because I have just been blessed with the opportunity to be here once. I'm not sure I want to come back to a country. I might want to take an opportunity and go to another country.
Hmm.
And I would say in the last year, I've been able to revisit some countries, mainly
Yeah.
because of how we plan travel. Mostly follow the deal versus the destination we want to go
Yeah.
to.
Okay.
And when the person said it initially, I was like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. No, we want to be somewhere new. But for example, I've been able to go to Spain twice. I've been to Paris twice, and I never thought I'd be there once, much as twice. So I'm going to share that advice with you and plant the seed that
Hmm.
you can always go back, because the issue is going the first time that you
Yeah.
thought was impossible and you made it over that hump. So now that you did that, you're like, I just need to figure out how to get back here, but I will be back here.
For sure. And I mean, I'll give you a little, and my audience doesn't know this, so you're all gonna find this out kind of first. So I have a 7-year plan to get the kids to all 7 continents, and
Okay.
I've been thinking a lot about what I'm gonna do after that.
Mm,
And my plan at the moment is to move myself into a phase where I can do a little bit more full-time travel, hopefully, and start to, I mean, get to a point where, yes, I'll revisit some places for sure, but I can also widen the net of places that I'm able to go, because as a co-parent, there are a lot of places that I can't take my kids, right? I would never get the consent to take them to. Like I can't take them to Venezuela or Colombia,
mm,
right? I mean, I want to take them to China to see the Great Wall, and I'm sure even that's going to be probably a pretty big fight to be able to do that. So there's lots of places that as a co-parent, I won't be able to take my kids. But once they start turning into adults, then I can start to widen the net either solo or with them, right? Take them to places that they might not have been able to go when it was a matter of having to get consent for every single trip. So, that's my big wide reveal right now. That's my hope. But yeah, back on the points and such like that, because I think it's important, and it's one that we can definitely learn from, and one that I'm learning from for sure. So I'm really enjoying this a lot. But why don't you tell us about a time where all the points and the perks and the plans just kind of clicked in a way that surprised you, that things just kind of came together and you're like, wow, this is like the perfect points trip.
perfect and family trip. I'm not sure those two words go together, but we're gonna try.
As perfect as it comes.
Let me fix this. Okay. So our first business class flight, that was, I don't know, I was almost in shock. I almost didn't believe that I was supposed to be there until like we were not even just taxiing, because at that point I thought they could still turn back. We took off. So our first business class flight was from Miami to Cape Town. We were able to book a Qatar Q suite for, originally was my husband and I supposed to be in business class. We have a daughter, and she finagled her way into convincing her dad to let her have the business class seat while he sat in the seat in coach. But Qatar has what I think is the best business class product. It has a door on this suite, so you can close the door and you're like in your own cocoon. There's on-demand dining, unlimited drinks, food, champagne. There's blankets. There is a pajama. There's amenity kits, and all of this. And I think I paid maybe $50 in taxes and fees.
Wow.
Yeah. So with using the points and the combination of that, I was like, wow, we did it. And we got 2 seats.
The best value for points.
So when we earn the points here, I don't use them for an upgrade. I just buy the business class seat outright with the points.
Okay.
And let me preface by saying this takes planning. It's not like, oh, today I want to fly this, so then I book this. So it took several months to spend the money on the credit card, paying the bills, I'd say 3, 4 months to
Hmm.
earn the points. And then normally these kind of flights you want to book almost a year in advance. So I had to plan back. and I wanted to go at this time. So that means I needed to earn the points 3 months, a year before I needed to go, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to go in March. So that means from the previous year, March. So round about December, November, I had to earn the points then. So that when the calendar opened up on American Airlines, I had the points in my account to book the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And so even like my sister now is planning a trip to Japan. She's like, "Oh, I have points and I want to go to Japan in 2 weeks." And I'm like, "That's not really how it works. You might be able to get lucky, but usually it takes, I would say, somewhere between 6 to 12 months to get everything situated in order to get the destination and the dates that you want."
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of which one has the best upgrade, I think the upgrades work best if you have status with a certain airline.
Okay.
So if you, for example, in Canada, I know the Air Canada program is really strong. So if you
Mm-hmm.
fly them a lot, you get a lot of perks and you can get upgrade certificates and you can use those if space is available. So the
Okay.
difference is you have to have the space available to use upgrade certificate versus if the seat is available with points, you can just buy it upfront and not have to worry about space being available.
Right. That makes sense. So let me back up a second because you said something that, kind of piqued my interest in it, and that is about, having to plan things a year in advance and all that kind of stuff. And is that because you're kind of dealing with like the blackout dates that they talk about and such like that? So there's certain times where you can't use your points, or is it just because, you're kind of that organized of a person?
Option A. So what I have learned in this space is not every seat on every plane, even if you have the points, are available for purchase with points. So let's say there is 50 business class seats available on a particular airline. The airline may make only, let's say, 2 to 4 of them available to purchase on points. And so if you want to be able to get those 2 to 4 seats, you want to be the first one in line. So if they're going to open up, and most of these airlines usually open up their calendar, let's say 364 days to, I don't know, 300 days in advance. So if I know I want to leave January 1st, 2027, by December 30th, December 30th, the previous year, I would start planning out how I'm going to purchase these tickets. So, in other words, I buy dummy tickets. So, I need to know how long it's going to take me to get on the website, how long it's going to take me to get the flight, putting my credit card information, because even though I'm looking at these flights, there are hundreds of other people doing the same thing. So,
Hmm.
it's first come, first serve. And I have had flights in my cart. And by the time I go to click buy, somebody already got it.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a competitive space.
Gotcha. And I guess that makes a lot of sense. So not only the seats themselves, but then when in the year, like I'm assuming in like you can't do it as easily in like high seasons for particular
Correct.
places. So basically it's easier to do it during times, if I'm understanding correctly, when they need to sell the seats, like when the
Correct.
plane would otherwise not have been so full, it's a lot easier versus if you want to try and use your points for spring break travel, you might have a little harder of a time.
Yeah. So for parents, most of us are traveling during what they call peak times:
Hmm.
summer, spring break, Christmas time,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. So most of the travelers that are doing this usually have families. So the competition is pretty steep. So you want to plan ahead. Like
Yeah.
right now, I'm looking ahead to summer of 2026 already.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, see, so am I. So maybe I got to start competing here.
And so that's the other thing. I mean, my family might have list of places that they want to go, and I try to explain to them, it's great that you might want to go to Greece, but there's no sale on Greece, so we can't go to Greece this year.
Hmm.
Like, for example, today I was looking at a flight going to Finland, and I'm like, it hasn't been on my list, but it's a good deal. And if I get to Europe, then it's easier to, get between the European countries than
Yes.
saying like, I want to go to Greece, so I have to fly directly to Greece. Well, maybe I can go to Finland, spend a couple of days, and see how much it costs to get from Finland to Greece. So that sort of thing. I kind of let wherever the deal is kind of guide us where we're gonna go.
Sure. So, and I mean, here's another question that really isn't on the list, but it's something that kind of popped into my head. So, how do you balance budget versus deal? So, do you go with like, do you start doing these things with a budget in mind of I want to spend this much to get to this place and do my trip? Or do you say, okay, I'm going to budget this like I don't have any points, and then the points are going to just make the whole thing better because then I have more spending money or something like that every time I get a deal.
I really should be better at the budget. Like I said, it seems like I have this all together, but I'm a very frugal person.
Mhm.
So I save a lot on little things so that I can spend a little more when it comes to vacation.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not like going to fancy restaurants. I just want to get to the destination, experience the things, and still kind of budget while I'm in there.
Mhm.
Do I have a budget? For example, when you buy tickets on points, you still have to pay taxes and fees.
Mhm.
I don't want to really pay more than $250 per person, taxes and fees wise. Even
Mhm.
if the points are cheap, it doesn't make sense for me to spend a little bit of points, but spend $500 on taxes and fees. So we're not going there if it's going to cost too much. Now you have me thinking. I really should put together a budget. I'm just like, this is how much money I have in my bank account. We're going to use that much. Oh, we're done. Today we're eating fries.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I know that as I start to travel more with my kids, I will probably be in the same spot where I'm thinking, I probably should have budgeted this out better.
Yeah, and there's not really any shame in my game. So this is coming out in August. We recently went to the Maldives, and
Mhm.
the food there is you only can buy at the resorts. There's no like little shops to buy. Whatever they sell is what you're gonna get, and it's always plus plus. It means 18% service fee plus another service fee, and God knows whatever. So
Mhm.
we took a bag and we brought food. We brought ramen, we brought tuna, we bought crackers so that the hotel was going to provide us with breakfast. We know we had to buy dinner. So in the middle of the day, I'm like, I don't want to spend $50 on a personal pizza. So how about we just pack a bag with some food that we can eat to just hold us over between breakfast and dinner? And that's what we did. It saved
Okay.
us what, $200-300 a day?
Well, I mean, that's significant,
Yeah.
definitely. So let's get back onto the points, and then we'll kind of move on to some other things. But what would you say is the biggest misconception that people have about points-based travel?
That it's a scam, that I need to have lots of credit card debt, and I can't do it because it's too complicated. You asked me for one, I gave you three. I'm sorry.
No, that's awesome, and maybe allow like, I mean, I have been guilty of thinking that these credit card points and stuff, maybe not that they're a scam, but they're intentionally more difficult to discourage you from using them. So, how would you dissuade me from that? What would you tell me to let me know, to teach me that it's different, that it's actually not that hard to do, that I don't have to carry a whole bunch of debt in order to, get myself from here to the next town over on a flight.
Okay, so before you even get to the credit cards, I would ask you what your spending habits are. Let's say the most basic travel rewards credit card is asking you to spend somewhere between 3 to 5,000 in 3 months.
Hmm.
So when I tell my friends about this, I tell them, go home, write down all your bills. We're not including your mortgage because you can't pay your mortgage yet with a credit card.
Hmm.
So your daughter's in volleyball. What's your electric bill? How much you spend on gas, the supermarket, and it also helps people kind of see where their money is going, right? Because like, am I really spending that much in a month? And if you're seeing that you're going to be able to spend $3,000 to $5,000 in the 3 months, then you're ready because you're already doing it. The
Hmm.
problem is you weren't getting any benefit for spending the money you're spending. Now with this, I want to show you like, listen, you work hard, you did all this for your kids and your family. you should be able to get some kind of benefit for it. I feel like that's step one, getting over the hump. Yes, I already paid these on my debit card. All I need to do now is shift it to my credit card and make sure I pay the credit card bill off in full every month. The next hurdle, which I find with a lot of my friends, is now that they've earned these points. I have a friend with almost 200,000 points, and it's very hard for her to spend it. It's like, okay, I have them all, but I don't want to use them. And I'm like, that 200,000 is going to be worth 150 if you don't use them soon. And I find once you use it to go to, not, I would say once you use it to go to a new country, that's when the light bulb goes off. Because I have a lot of friends that use it because we go to soccer tournaments, so they pay for a hotel. But using it to go somewhere where you have to use your passport that you've never been before, it's like opening a door. It's like a portal.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I
Mhm.
mean, in general, I tell people all the time that, once you leave your own country, like your whole life will change. Like
Yes.
it changes things fundamentally in you on how you see yourself, how you see the world. You can't leave your country and come back the same. Right.
Yeah.
So I
And
feel like maybe adding the points elements to that, it probably even makes it even a better and a bigger thing.
right, because now you're leaving your country and not paying all of the cost that's associated with it.
Hmm. Which is very cool because we all know it's not cheap.
It's not,
Right.
not at all. Yeah.
Even with points and such like that, you still gotta save. You still gotta have the money to eat and lodge yourself and all those kind of things. So it's not cheap as it is. So I mean, if you're getting a deal on a flight where you're only paying the taxes, oh man, that's way better.
And what you could do is use whatever next vacation you have coming up that you have to pay for and use that to earn points for maybe the next one. So maybe
Hmm.
this one won't be on points, but if you're already going to spend $1,000 on plane, $1,000 to stay in the hotel, another $1,000 to eat out, get a new credit card, earn the points on that so that next year those points can help offset some of the cost.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So let's switch gears a little bit. And you are a teacher and a parent, which kind of means like you're a double parent in my eyes,
So
because not only are you parenting your own, but you're spending your days parenting 30 others. So, but in your personal life, how do you feel that being a parent has kind of changed the way you plan and prioritize travel and trips?
it is immensely important. You mentioned that you don't leave your country and come back the same person.
Hmm.
So I'm trying my best to raise, like, what was the term that I used? Like citizens of the world, like, and this was long ago before we even really started traveling international. My daughter was talking to a friend. They were at a park and she was like, "Oh, I'm going to go over to the table. I'm going to get a baguette." And the little girl was like, "What do you mean? What is that?" And my daughter was like, "Oh, you don't know what a baguette is?" And I was like, "Oh my God." And that's not because we had been to France or Paris or anywhere like that, but just, going to the supermarket and trying new stuff from different places. And
Yeah.
then just that. And then now taking her to the place where you get a croissant, a baguette, where it's from, just kind of brings all of that together. I, it breeds such tolerance. Like, I have a friend that says to me, "You know what? I never want to leave my country." And I thought, "Oh my God, how sad."
Yeah.
Why? Like, this is not the end all and be all. It's great wherever you are, it doesn't matter. But I think to understand human nature, you have to see someone who you think is different, but realize you have more in common than than you are different. And that's the one lesson I've learned traveling all over. It's that we are more in common than we are different.
Yeah, I remember doing an interview, and actually, it was just the last interview that I did with Keith and Dev. And Keith was saying, you go everywhere you go, people just want to wake up and live a good life and be happy and have their family and eat. Like that's what people want to do. And once you start realizing that that's just like me, right? I just want to, get up and be happy, get paid for what I do, have happiness with my family and my kids, right? That's a changing thing because so often not, especially in the media landscape that we have, there is so much we are here and everybody else is down here. Those people over there are so different than us,
Yeah.
right? And we kind of get that in our mindset because maybe it's because we feel we have to. Like if we don't feel for some odd reason that everybody else is so different than us, then we start thinking then what's so great about us? But right, we're the same, right? We are so the same everywhere else, and that's kind of a freeing thing to think too, that these people are just like me, right? They may speak a different language and their food may be different, but down deep, at a base level, right, almost wherever you go, these people are just like you.
Yeah. And I realize there is a certain level of humility and gratitude that I'm not sure about in Canada where you live, but in Miami, it can be like so fast paced, so hostile. Don't get me wrong, it's great here and there's lots of good people, but
Mm,
living in a big city, you have to be tolerant of certain things.
yes.
But especially traveling to Asia, the level of respect that they have, and I thought it was because I'm in a hotel and I'm a tourist. No, it's the level of respect they have for each other. That you can stop what you're doing, and in order to say goodbye to someone or wish them well, you stop and you give them a gentle bow to say, like I don't know, the bow has so many translation. Like I wish you well, I bless you, I have gratitude. You know what I
Mm,
mean? It was that moment where I was like, we need a little bit more here. We have it,
I
but
agree.
we need just a tad bit more, just respect for each other. Or maybe we have it, but we just are not expressing it outwardly.
Well, and I think it is. I mean, I spent when I was in my 20s, I spent some time in Thailand, and it's the same thing. And it's like the acknowledgement that you are a person and we are sharing this space for a moment.
Yeah.
Hello, hi, we're breathing the same air. How are you? Right? Like just that respect of you are another living thing in the same sphere that I am in. And I think there's something very beautiful about that. I think you're exactly right. And
That's
even in the big cities, like if you're in Bangkok or if you're in, Tokyo, they still do it.
yeah. And that's where I learned that lesson. It was in Bangkok. I
Yeah.
would went to the hotel and when they would greet you, they would bow, but then I would also see them doing it to themselves. And then once I was in the subway in Tokyo, and I would say it was like a bowing competition. It wasn't, but they were just like, thank you, hi, hi, hi. And just went on for a while. It was just so cute. So cute.
Yeah. And I know like in Canada, we are often pegged as the polite ones, as far as North America. But I mean, honestly, Asia has got it down for
Yeah.
polite and for respect, like just heads and shoulders above and beyond. Right. And then, like I said, there's nothing bad about that. Like they're still a highly productive society,
Mhm.
right? They still do lots and accomplish lots, but they also take time out of their day just to respect people and acknowledge people. And I think that's very, very cool.
And so being able to show my kids stuff like that, I think is priceless. There's really no dollar amount I could put on that.
Agreed, 100%. So, what would you say to families that are watching this or listening down the road and they feel like, you know what, travel, it just isn't for people like us? Maybe they are single parents and they think there's no way I could ever afford this. Or, I don't, people who say, oh, I don't ever want to leave my country or whatever not. Like, what would if you could just sit them down one on one, look them straight in the eye and just say whatever, what would you tell them?
First of all, I realize I can't convince everyone. If you don't want to leave, that's on you, boo. I'm good. I'm not wasting my breath on you because you can't convince everyone to do it. For the families who think they want to do it, you have to want. If you don't, then there's no discussion. And they need ways to figure out how they can do it. It's you need to sit down with a budget and figure out, is there space? And maybe at that point they cannot, right? The budget is stretched thin. Maybe look into, I don't know. It depends on how bad you want it. A second job, cutting back on certain things. And for me, it took a while. I know it seems like now I'm traveling here and traveling there, but there were many years we didn't go anywhere. So if this is your goal, it doesn't mean it has to be the next 30 days, the next 365 days. And create a vision board. It doesn't even have to be a physical vision board. Just know that this is what you want to do. And you'll start to see yourself put things in action to make these little things happen. Like we have a little bucket, and every time we get change, we throw it in there. That might be your travel budget. Like that could be your bucket for food when you go on travel, right? So, like, I can buy the ticket, but I know when I get to this place, I'm not going to have money to buy lunch. Okay. Just drop it in the bucket there. And it sounds very cliche, but the human nature, when it wants something, it will stop at nothing to get it.
Yeah. I was going to pop in on your point about, putting money in a jar. And we're going to Jamaica as our first trip. And we're going with my mother, yeah, who is from Jamaica. So she's very frugal, like you are. Like a lot of the things that you're saying are things that my mother says all the time. So I'm like, okay, okay. But one of the things she did is she had a piggy bank. And from the time we said we were going back to Jamaica, she and with my kids was always like, okay, once we go out, maybe I took you out for McDonald's, I paid for it in cash, and now I've got, $7 in change here. Let's just put that in the piggy bank. And, oh, I bought you some clothing and now I've got some change. Let's go put that in the piggy bank. Oh, we did this. Let's go put that in the piggy bank. Oh, maybe instead of, I've got this $20 here, instead of, going to McDonald's, you know what? We're going to Jamaica. Let's put that in the piggy bank.
Mm.
And I just had my daughter, Sarah, she just rolled about $250 worth of change,
Wow.
right?
And it's so funny.
$250.
That's a lot. And even now, with a society that's mostly digital and doesn't use cash, a lot of banks offer things where they round something up. So, like
Hmm.
if you spend $2.18, you can set a parameter. Maybe I just want to round it up to the next dollar, and they'll take
Yep.
that money and move it into a savings account for you.
Yep, and I've got that too. So you can use those things. Like you said, you're exactly right. Like even on my checking account, I have that. It rounds up to the nearest dollar, everything. And
Mhm.
I was looking at it the other day. I'm like, wow, I've saved like $600 doing that. Like, and you don't notice it, right? You just do those
Yes.
small things that are low pain points. You don't notice, and suddenly, wow, that's enough for a plane ticket. Cross country.
Like one of the big things I've done this year is I don't really buy lunch at school anymore. There's some days where like I buy, but I whatever food's left over from the day before. Sometimes the cafeteria has free food. It's not very good, but we eat it anyways.
Mm,
And like it's not by accident, but I am planning my week that I don't want to have to leave school to go buy something to eat. And so, I mean, it comes down to like a sandwich, a can of tuna, like
mm,
lentils that are what, $1 a bag, something like that. That I'm like, because when I leave school to go buy something, it's at least going to cost me $10 at
yeah,
minimum. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and those things definitely add up. So, and what would you say? And you know what? Actually, I'm going to pause here and I'm just going to say to those who are watching, if you're enjoying this conversation, because there's been so much good stuff so far. So, if you're enjoying this conversation, definitely make sure to like this channel and like this video, subscribe to this channel, but also check out Nicole's channel, Nicole's Travel Tips. I'll put that on the screen. Check her out as well, because all the tips that she's given me, I'm late to the game, right? She's been telling this stuff on her channels, especially on her Instagram and now on her YouTube. She's been telling this stuff for some time. So go and subscribe to her right now, Nicole's Travel Tips. Check her out on Instagram and on YouTube. And if you're resonating with some of the stuff that she's saying, drop it in the comments. Tell us what so far you have heard that you're just like, wow, yeah, that makes sense. Whether it be dropping money in the piggy bank or, some of her tips on points and stuff like that. Definitely let us know. Let's start the conversation so that more people can travel, because that is literally what this is all about. This is all about teaching people and showing people that, hey, you can travel. Actually, you can get out there, and you do little things, and little things can snowball into bigger things, with snowball into bigger things, and suddenly you're out there and you're traveling and you never thought that you could. I mean, to be perfectly fair and frank, from the day I got divorced, separated even, I figured that was it. Travel was done, right? On a single income, I am never going to be traveling again, let alone traveling and taking 3 children, right, to travel with you. I thought it was done. But by doing small little things, saving and so on and so forth, we're at the point where we can do those things. So these tips matter, right? They will help you to get there, and they will help you, like she said right at the beginning. How do you need an elephant? One bite at a time, right? And these are the one bites that can definitely get you there. So Nicole's travel tips on YouTube, on Instagram, definitely check her out. But let's continue on with the conversation. And we were talking about, what you would tell to families, and I just wanted to ask again, a little bit deeper. What about those families that are, they're afraid to travel? They feel like, oh, if I leave my, my town or whatever, I'm not going to be able to find a McDonald's or food that I like to eat. Or, you hear all those rumors like, oh, if I go here, they eat dogs and cats and whatever not, right? You hear those rumors, and so people think, oh, I'm never going to leave because I won't be able to eat, or I won't be able to function, or I won't be able to get along day to day or moment to moment, right? What do I do if I go walk into a place and they've got a squatty potty, right? Right. Easier for a guy, but I can imagine as a girl, you're like, oh, what do I do with this thing? Right. So what would
Been
you
there, done that, got the t-shirt.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what would you tell to them who are kind of maybe staying home out of more a fear of the unknown than of a financial limitation?
So one of the biggest fears I have is, will there be hot water? Will
Mm,
there be AC? And what about the food? Safety is usually secondary after that, but these are the things. So I say, okay, let's pick like a Four Seasons, right? That's a pretty fancy, smancy hotel. Pick the country or region or whatever that you're looking for. See if that hotel is there. Or let's go Marriott, right? Or a Hilton or a Hyatt, something like that. If these companies have decided to invest money in this area, this region, this country, they are going to have places that are going to provide you with your hot water,
mhm.
usually American continental breakfast, and AC. So start by going to the areas that have these hotels here, right? We don't want to venture off into Chiang Mai, Thailand right off the bat. Food, you'll be surprised. American food is everywhere.
Mhm.
KFC, McDonald's, Burger King, Coca-Cola. I mean, I last time I heard, I think Mexico was the largest consumer of Coca-Cola. And I was
Yeah.
like, really? So I would say if you were doing this 20 years ago, I could understand. But now you can find everything everywhere.
Yeah. I was surprised when I took my kids to Ghana, Africa, like I said, and there was a KFC up the street. And my daughter is a picky eater, right? It's
Mhm.
something that I'm trying to move her away from. In fact, when we go to Jamaica, we're doing a food challenge where I'm going to challenge
Oh.
all of my kids to eat all sorts of different Jamaican foods, right? Right from plantains, which they like, to roast breadfruit,
Mhm.
to do you know what Manish water is?
Of
You know Manish
course.
water? Of course, of course, of course. Look, some people don't. Like maybe you've been away from Jamaica for a while. I don't know, but I'm gonna get all the way up to that. Of course, I'm gonna get them to eat ackee and saltfish. I'm not gonna lie. That's gonna be a challenge for me. Never liked ackee. Like I have a
Yeah.
Jamaican mother. I've never liked ackee, so
I
it'll be
love
even a
it.
challenge for me. But you're right. You know, you can get lots of different foods there. You can get your regular stuff. Your KFC is almost everywhere. Your McDonald's is almost everywhere. But I mean, sometimes too, like just trying something different is part of the fun of getting out. Like
Yeah.
why, like to me, why leave the country only to eat McDonald's and KFC? Right? Like go and try and eat the stuff that the local, and you can do it safely. Like I'm not saying go to the nearest, dirty street vendor and, eat what they're doing because that's just a recipe for getting yourself sick. But, you can go to the local restaurants, anywhere that's, has a sit down, usually also has at least enough of a sanitary, environment for you to try it, right?
And this is why we travel with kids early, so we don't have picky adults.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And but if it's way past that prime and you're here now, try something simple. Try something like a Caribbean island. Go to
Mhm.
a European country that speaks English. Maybe you want to go to London, something like that. But to be honest, there are just some people who won't break out of the mold. They'll try
Yeah.
it and they won't like it. Glad you tried it, but I wouldn't focus my energy more on those. Maybe focus on the energy of the people that want to do it and are just looking for ways to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. All right. So I want to take a little bit of a break. We got heavy there for a little bit. So let's lighten it up a little. Let's lighten it up a little bit. I want to do our rapid fire round. I still haven't found a name for this yet. I need to find like a TWC name for our rapid fire round, but these are questions where we're just going to go, quickly. If they spark a conversation, awesome, but if they don't, we'll just go through them. So just the first thing that comes to your mind, as I ask these questions. So, question number one: what is one thing that you always forget to pack?
Can I say what my husband always forgets to pack?
Yes.
Cash.
Cash. And that's true
Definitely
because
cash.
you can't go everywhere and just expect that your card is going to work, which is actually a very good point. You do have to have some liquid assets, we'll call it, right? So that you can get around, even if you're just getting to the point where you can get to a cash machine.
Yeah.
So definitely. All right. Between you and your husband, then, who's the better planner?
Me doesn't even know where we're
Of course.
going.
Is he just kind of the go with the flow, like you plan it all, and he's just like, okay, we're going here, let's go.
Not even we're going here. He just shows up. Yeah.
Just shows up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool, cool. Alrighty. Are you a window or an aisle type of person?
Window. Window, window.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't film if you're not by the window, right? So there you go.
Exactly. Like
Exactly.
Cardi B says, what kind of planes are those?
Yeah, no kid. Are you the type of person who likes to know what type of plane you're on and likes like spotting new and different planes? You've been on A380, like you've been on a lot of different planes.
I have, and I'm learning as I go. I would never call myself an av geek. I'm just maybe on Reddit or like Flyer Talk listening to what the newest plane is, which
Yeah.
one has the door or something like that, which one has the most comfortable seats, but not an av geek by any sense.
Okay. But you do realize that by virtue of the fact that you know the term av geek, that means you're walking down that path.
Fair enough. I do know that the A380 is an amazing plane, huge, the
Mhm.
largest commercial plane. I do know that.
Yeah, I've been on a 747. I've never been on an A380 yet. I hope I get on them before they retire them all, because that would be a shame to miss out.
Okay. You will. You will.
I know it. It's going to happen. I might just have to just say, okay, we're going on a trip just to go on the A380.
I have done that before.
See, there you go. Gotta do it. All right. Let's see. Dream destination that you have not been to yet.
Antarctica. I was following
Mm,
someone on Instagram. I don't think this is going to be a family trip. I'm not sure. But she seemed to have an amazing time. The polar plunge and all of that. Plus, it's the last continent, so why not?
yeah, it is on my list. Like I said, I want to do all seven continents, so that is on the list. it will be my youngest son's, it'll be his de facto grad gift, I guess, for us to do that, because you do have to travel certain times of the year to get there, uh, or at least to get there safely. And, obviously it's a big trip because you have to go down through Chile and, then cross by, usually by sea through the Drake Strait. So, I mean, there's a lot to do to get there, right? So it's a big goal for sure. All right. Let's see. Worst travel mishap or oops moment.
I would say when we forgot our COVID documentation and we missed that flight and we had to spend an extra $700.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would hurt a little bit. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad I kind of wasn't in a travel phase during that time. I mean, I hear it was wonderful because you could get on a plane and it'd be like nobody beside you. You get like the whole aisle to yourself. But going through
Yeah.
that whole rigmarole must have been quite the challenge for sure.
Yeah.
All right. If your travel life was a movie, what do you think the title of that movie would be?
When vacations go wrong, behind the scenes of family travel, something like that. You don't want to see behind the curtain. Sometimes I show it, and sometimes I'm like, just what is going on?
Mhm. And I guess, I mean, that's the little, dirty secret to social media and stuff like that. We show the highlights. We don't show the tired, the cranky, the all that kind of stuff because we want to encourage people to do it too. But it's real. Like, it's not always just all glamour. Sometimes you're shooting and you're tired because you think you just got to get this last thing for whatever you're going to post or whatever not, or you just need somebody to just get their face off and not be such a cranky pot or whatever not. There is a real struggle behind social media that I think is probably not talked about near enough.
Yeah. I try really hard to show it. Like, you see, my son's always sleeping. I don't know. He's always sleeping. I have a teenage daughter. How old is your daughter?
My daughter is 12. Yeah.
Okay, you have a few more good years for improving.
Don't worry, she's already slowly getting there. Sometimes the attitude is just like,
Oh my god.
wow, what is going on?
Yeah, so dealing with that too, and again, if you're traveling for a long distance, everyone's tired, all of that. But um, some days it's worth it, and some days it's not. To be honest, everyone's like, "Well, oh, it's bad, but it'll be worth it," and sometimes it's not.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
I
that's
hear
the
you.
reality. Yeah.
And I mean, the reality of just being on social media in general, like sometimes I'm doing content and I come out of that day and I'm like, I don't know if this content was worth just the extra gray hairs that I now have. I mean, I love my kids, don't get me wrong, and I would do all this stuff regardless. Like if there was no social media, I would still take them to all the places that I take them and do all the things that we do. But when
Yeah.
you add that extra level of trying to get the clips of this. And I mean, like, I love your like airport lounge stuff and all that kind of stuff because I mean, it allows me to dream, right? So if there was nobody there doing that, I'd be like, you wouldn't know, like, you wouldn't have something that helps you to be like, oh, one day I want to be on Etihad's business
Aw.
class or first class, like that. You're showing what our dreams are. So even when you don't think it's worth it, like when I see that kind of stuff, I'm just like, ah, I want to do
Thank you.
that.
Wow, thank you, thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
absolutely, absolutely. So let's see. What is one local food that surprised you the most in a good or bad way?
Mango sticky rice.
Hmm.
Oh, I love
Okay.
some mango sticky rice. So good.
Where did you have that first?
In Bangkok.
In Bangkok? Yeah, yeah. It's good too. It's very, very good. And you wouldn't think, like, you don't usually don't think like something sweet with rice, but I guess maybe that's the North American thinking. You're just like rice is rice.
Yeah, I don't even have any words to describe it. Delicious. That's it. Just
Mhm.
delicious.
So, to all those who are listening, You just got to find your way to Thailand and find yourself some mango sticky rice.
Yes,
Try it and you will understand, right?
exactly.
Until then, really there's no way for us to convey to you what that actually is like.
Exactly. I'm glad that you had it also, so you understand the lack of words and what it means.
Yeah, and I mean there's so many foods like that that you eat them and you're like, "Huh, that's really good." And
Oh,
it's like I'd never have tried it.
mangosteen. I've heard about it a lot. I've seen it on a lot of hair care products, but I had mangosteen for the first time. That
Mm,
is second to a lychee or lychee, however you call it. Lychee is
mm,
my number one fruit, but mangosteen, strong number two.
very, very cool. Awesome. All right. What is a destination that tested your patience the most?
Japan.
Mm.
Not because of Japan. We spend a few too many days together as a family. So now I know how many days is too much.
Gotcha. So what's your vacation family day limit?
I think 10.
10 days.
Yeah.
And
We
then you
were
start
there.
needing your space, huh?
Yeah. At that point, everybody needs space.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because I mean, we think from a North American perspective because, we come to our house and everybody's got their room, everybody's got their space, right? And then we go to places where it's not like that. Like people literally live together in a room and they never have these issues. But we go and we're like, "Ugh, I need my space from you now. Like I have seen too much of your face." Let's see. Last one. What is one piece of travel advice that you would give to your past self?
Bucket, bucket.
Just don't wait. Just do it.
Yeah, if you have most of the money, go for it. Especially if you're younger, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wish I had done more. And I mean, when I was young, like pre-marriage, I did a fair amount of travel actually. And I really wish I had done more because it
Mm.
was way easier back then when I didn't have to. I mean, I love my kids, don't get me wrong. So if you guys are listening, kids, I love you, but traveling's way easier without you. way, way easier.
And also what I learned this summer, my son took his first trip with his friends, right? Well, partially with his friends. And they also like being, I mean, come on, they're teenagers, right? They
Mhm.
obviously prefer traveling with them more. So at 18, 20, you're in college, you're making a little bit of money. Get on that Spirit flight and, go to Cancun. I'm sure you guys have an equivalent low budget airline like we have Spirit, but yeah, do it.
You know what? I'm telling you, I wish we had low cost like you guys have low cost.
Okay.
Every airline in Canada, they start with the haha, we're low cost and very quickly become standard carriers because Canada
Meaning
is just expensive.
okay, okay. Is it low cost? And I'm not sure if you want to air this, but is it low cost? And then, like, by the time you add the bags and that sort of thing, it adds up, or they just
Well, they
company?
start there. Like they start there as like true low cost carriers and we just charge you for every little thing. But because Canada in and of itself is very expensive, like we have wide open blank areas across the country. So it's not like they can do like multiple stops in a day or something like that. Like
Mm,
most travel is between Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto, Ontario, I guess, or not Ontario,
okay.
Ottawa, right?
Mm,
And because like especially between, Calgary and Toronto, that's a 4-hour flight. And I mean, there's Winnipeg in between, but nobody goes there. So there's not a lot of like short hops to be done like there are in the States,
got
where
it.
they can like kind of hop up the coast and hop across and hop, to all these little places. So airlines they start low cost and then they just creep and creep and creep and creep because the economics
Mm,
just don't work as well in Canada,
got it. So
which
we
is
came to Canada
unfortunate.
once, and what we did was we flew to Detroit because that
Mhm.
was a local flight, so we didn't have the international taxes, and then drove across the border.
Yeah, see, that's definitely a way to do things. Definitely, definitely. But
Yeah.
yeah, book it, book it. I like it. All right, so we're going to round this out with just a few more questions and such like that, and we'll just kind of, like I like to say, we're going to land the plane here.
Okay.
So, what does a successful trip look like for you now compared to when you really started traveling? Because I know, like for me, when I was young, younger in traveling, a successful trip looks very, very different than what I would call success today. And I'm sure it's changed for you as well. So what is the differences? What does it look like now versus the past?
So I know this is a family show, but a successful trip for me now looks like a solo trip or a trip with a friend, not a family member.
Hmm. Just one where you can decompress and have your own space.
Yeah, I think as your kids get older and everyone's personality starts to form, I right now it's probably easier for me to take the point and have my kids go where they want to go with their friends
Hmm.
rather than like I have a vision of what this trip should look like and you guys need to fit into this mold and that's not working. So, something along those lines. Something in Asia, definitely, or Central or South America, because cost of living is cheaper there. And while the flights might be a little higher, once you get there, it's inexpensive.
Yeah, for sure. Nope, that makes a lot of sense. And like I said, I resonate with that as well. I would love to just go back and bounce around Asia for a while. That would be a dream right now. I would love that. And again, I love my kids. I love you guys if you're watching, but it would just be nice to just bounce around, do a little solo, me time.
Yeah.
That would definitely be nice. So, what would you say to somebody who's kind of standing at the edge of their first real trip and wondering if they can pull it off? Like, what sage advice would you give to somebody, that's wanting to do this?
I would say find a community very similar to what you have growing here. Go on Instagram, TikTok, even Facebook. I find
Mhm.
joining Facebook groups and they have lots of destination groups and people are having real conversation about, things that you need to know before you go there.
Mhm.
Safety issues, daily activities that are happening. And these conversations are taking place all throughout, tens of thousands of messages going back and forth. And I find that a lot of the things I was unsure of, most of these questions are answered in these groups. Even on Instagram, if there's somebody in a destination that you think you want to go to, send them a DM. A lot of people are very willing to help you and respond and reply, oh, yeah, I went to this place and here's the address and here's how much I paid. Here's my driver. There is so much more information out there now than when I first started. So don't be afraid, ask questions.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, don't be afraid. You can do this, and it's not like the first step is always the scariest, but every step after that just gets easier and easier and more fun, and you learn so much about yourself.
Oh, God.
So I definitely resonate with that 100%. All right. So I think we're coming to the end, but let me give you a couple of seconds to talk about your channel. What have you got coming up next? Where are you going? What are you doing? What are people going to find on Nicole's travel tips?
Oh, thank you. I started a YouTube channel recently. I actually started on my birthday. I made a commitment that I was going to share the content that I have and I wanted to, I said there was three things I wanted to do. I wanted to inspire, entertain and educate people about traveling. And I think I seem to be doing that. I get a lot of questions and I'm happy to help people who want to learn more either just about traveling or points and miles in general. I try to put a funny twist on it, especially on my Instagram account. And I don't know, I if I get nothing out of it, it's that one or two messages that people say, "Oh, thank you for that tip. It really helped." And I got something out of it. So I'm doing on my YouTube channel right now lounge reviews, airline reviews, hotel reviews, and just some travel vlogs. So if you're interested in finding out more about these things, you can subscribe to my channel. Check it out. It's called Nicole's Travel Tips.
Awesome and well said. And I will echo that as well. I am subscribed because every time I see my notification that you've got one up, I'm like, oh, what lounge is she in?
I love a good lounge.
In fact, after seeing you, the first thing I was like, oh, Does Montego Bay Airport have a lounge?
Yes,
Yes,
it has a
they
really
do.
good one.
And it's not that expensive either. So
No,
I think it's $35 per person. I'm like, I might
worth it.
just do that. Might just do that. Instead of, buying KFC down the street and then smuggling it onto the plane, just you got food right there and you get through security faster and you have like a more relaxed time.
Yeah.
Like this lounge thing, I mean, is starting to make a lot of sense to me.
Wait till I get my hooks in you and I get you a credit card with lounge access. Oh, it'd never be the same.
Life will never be the same.
Yeah.
And that is a perfect way to end off this episode. First of all, I would like to thank you, Nicole, for being with us. This has been an amazing conversation. I have learned so much. I am going to listen to this conversation again and again and keep taking notes and keep learning because it's just got so many good tidbits in it. And to you guys who are watching, if this episode has helped you see travel in a new light, hit that thumbs up, share your favorite tips in the comments. And like I mentioned before, be sure to follow Nicole at Nicole's Travel Tips, both on YouTube and on Instagram. If you want more honest travel stories and smarter ways to explore the world, subscribe and join us for the journey. Our next Globetrotter Guide episode actually features us. So my good friend Alicia is going to be guest hosting, and me and the kids will have just come back from Jamaica. So she is going to do a Globetrotters Guide episode where she is the host and me and the kids are the guest. After that, we have another. Actually, this is a very Jamaican time of life for me because you were mentioning, Nicole, that you are Jamaican. We're going to be going to Jamaica, and then our next guest in October is actually from Jamaica as well. Travel with Tony Ann. She is a Jamaican, and she specializes in just promoting Jamaica and helping people get the most when they do their trips to Jamaica. So that's going to be our October guest as well. So much coming up on the Globetrotters Guide. Again, we've got our Patreon at patreon.com/thewandercrew. That's where our behind the scenes stuff goes. That's where our bloopers goes. That's where the stuff that we can't show on YouTube. For instance, we were at the Calgary Stampede and we filmed the entire grandstand show there. And if you don't know what the Calgary Stampede is, I'll put the link in the comment, but the Calgary Stampede is like, they call it the greatest outdoor show on earth, and it's because it is. And it was an amazing show. We filmed the whole thing, but I can't put it out publicly, but I did put it on my Patreon. So definitely check that out. We also have a Discord where we have chats on lots of different subjects that have to do with travel and co-parenting. We're gonna have to add a points section, a points and perks section that we're gonna have to start in there as well. So definitely check that out. The short code for that is bit.ly/join1177. You can join the conversation there. And as always, thank you to Nicole and keep exploring.